from the bottom, hey, not to be up in your face, putting groupers in the chase, putting work to paper bays, on the up and I'm on the road, you can eat and you cutting cold, I've been driving no cruise control.
Alright, let's get into this AEW thing. I would rather not, as once again, I was so bored by this show, but I have committed to doing AEW reviews, so I shall. But this was one of the more collisionist episodes of AEW to happen thus far. I mean, the energy level on the show is low. The crowd is more into it, I think, especially certain matches, but overall, my interest level is very low. It's very low. I don't think I watched a whole match on this entire show. So, I hate to break it to people who are looking for cage match style breakdowns, but it ain't about to happen. It ain't my style anyway. But I certainly ain't about to get too into these matches on this show, because there's nothing to get into. But there is one thing. Last week, Thunder Rosa got embarrassed when Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford did not leave the ring. Everybody's been trying to figure out what happened, what's been going on. Are they stupid or are they dumb? It turns out that the official explanation of what happened in the Thunder Rosa situation is there's a miscommunication. There was a producer miscommunication. Brian Alvarez is out here talking about AEW doesn't have production meetings. And none of this explains why can't AEW just say we screwed up. They make these things such a big deal. It is not that big a deal. Just say they screwed it up. Wrestling 101 says if the babyface runs to the ring, you powder. That's all you need to do. Thunder Rosa is on Busted Open Radio, and she looks like a cheating wife. She can't even look directly into the camera. She's just like, well, safety is my number one priority. I just want to be safe. I don't want to hurt anybody. And she's just like, eyes is down at the keyboard, and I'm like, come on, stop being dramatic. Just say, we screwed it up. My bad. Collectively, our bad. Especially if you don't want to throw them under the bus. Just say, our bad, we screwed it up. You know? We can't bat 1,000. You know? And then it'll be over. This thing continues because people try to make excuses for it. It's bad. It sucks. It sucked. Everybody saw it. Let's just go out there and we'll try again next week. But nobody involved with that thing was featured on this show. So why did they do it? They just decided that was so bad, nobody's coming back. Megan Bayne's not coming back. Penelope Ford's not coming back. Thunder Rosa's not coming back. Nobody's coming back. I don't even think the referee was there. Have mercy. Lord of mercy. Alright, so let's get into this thing. MJF is getting his AEW tattoo removed, which is likely not real. He called Hangman Page a fake and a phony and says the fans chose him and the only 3 letters he cares about is MJF. Hangman Page beat up Bayley's ex-boyfriend, this guy, Aaron Solo. I mean, he fumbled Bayley, which is hilarious. But sometimes Bayley is cute. Other times she looks like somebody's abuela. In any event, Hangman Page gets on the microphone. He says there's 3 things that he hates. 1, running out of biscuits. 2, I don't remember, I didn't write it down. And 3, some badly spray-tanned bitch spitting on him. So he sits in the middle of the ring, says he ain't leaving, not leaving, until somebody delivers him MJF. Well, he didn't have to wait long because here comes MJF. MJF is supposedly wiping blood off his hands, but MJF's hands are still dry. His hands are dry. There's no, like blood stuff all over it. If you ever handled blood, it doesn't just like, oh, I'll wipe it off with a towel and that's it. Now my hands are perfectly dry. There's no redness under my nails or nothing like that, okay? In any event, MJF says that Hangman Page is a ruthless killer. He has no chance against him and says he has to go home and train. But he is concerned about Hangman's friend. So then the camera cuts to backstage where we see Christopher Daniels blading and then laying in the pool of his own blood. Yes, I was not incorrect. You saw Christopher Daniels run something across his head while he was already bleeding to increase the blood. Production. What a production error. It's just a comedy of errors on AEW. Anyway, that's the story. MJF beat up Christopher Daniels, allegedly. Beat him bloody. Hangman Page, who damn near killed him, who claimed that Christopher Daniels died, is offended and upset. And he spent the rest of the night hunting MJF, and MJF was gone. Then he threatened to run him over, whatever that toy car he was driving, that he ended up putting horns on. And let me tell you this. I don't know what kind of car it is. I don't know nothing about cars. But he put the long horns on this thing. I'm looking at this thing. Is that an electric car? What is this thing? You put the horns on a limo. And I'm not just saying that's JBL's gimmick. You put the horns on like a pickup truck. What is that thing? You know, it looks like something one of my baby cousins were like rolling around in the carpet. What is that thing? It might be expensive, you know. They do overpay this guy. But Hangman and MJF, not a big fan. I just can't. At least they're trying to do something. They're trying very hard. But Hangman is this super constipated badass. It's not working. I don't believe him. All of a sudden, he's some kind of psycho killer. Nobody buys that guy. Who cares? Nobody takes you seriously, Hangman. In any event, MJF has been the same guy for 5 years. And I'm just not that attached to Christopher Daniels. Nor am I attached to the storyline that involves Christopher Daniels. I don't care. Moving on, Don Callis. He needed some help handling his Will Ospreay problem, so he goes to Chris Jericho. And Jericho offers up Brian Keith, who no longer is going by the Bad Apple, which was a terrible nickname, and is back to his original nickname, which was the Bounty Hunter. So, Will Ospreay, of course, defeats Brian Keith, because why would he lose to him? This match was extra long. Brian Keith still wearing his pants underneath his armpits. I don't understand that. But they had the match. The poster was great. I don't know if you saw the poster of this thing that somebody made, but the poster, the Old West posters that they've been doing, like Brian Keith and Bandito, those things have been amazing. They've been much better than these matches. I mean, I don't care about these matches at all. There wasn't a lick of drama in this thing. Every Will Ospreay match is pretty much the same. It is what it is. Afterwards, Will Ospreay went and fought Kyle Fletcher up in the crowd, because Kyle Fletcher was watching intently. So Chris Jericho's Bounty Hunter failed, and so did Don Callis' boys. What's next? What are we going to do next? You're going to dig up Bobby Heenan and try to put together the Heenan family to beat Will Ospreay? He'll probably beat them all together. Get bit. Mercedes is bullying some girl named Billy Starks, who I've only seen a couple of times because I don't watch Ring of Honor. Billy Starks is very bad at talking. He was very NXT. Don't you know who I am? Ring of Honor superstar Billy Starks. It's like she's like some kind of minor celebrity talking about herself. Don't you know who I am? Like, no, motherfucker, we don't exactly. If I had not seen clips of you on Ring of Honor, on just floating around Twitter, I would not have recognized her at all. Hilarious. Mercedes is super cringe, very cringe. Goes into her whole 4 belts Monet shit. She's so bad, man. She's just so bad at this. And she told Billy Starks to go and fetch her Momo Watanabe, because I gotta admit, dog, I know last week I said I was gonna go find out who Momo Watanabe is. I didn't. I honestly forgot. I said all that shit, and then I went to sleep, and the next day I didn't care who Momo Watanabe was. So I didn't think about her again until I saw her on this show. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, she appeared like Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees or something with a baseball bat, and Mercedes cartoonishly squealed, wee, and then dropped her TNT TBS belt. And then Mercedes runs away. She ran away. I mean, are we going to blame men for this too? Is this men's fault that nobody cares about Momo Watanabe? Nobody cares who Billy Starks is. Nobody cares about her. She didn't get a huge reaction. What man are we going to blame? We going to blame Tony Khan? We gonna blame Billy Gunn? We gonna blame, Lawrence Taylor? Who we gonna blame? Whose fault is this, Mercedes? This was really bad. Who do we blame? Do we blame me? Is it my fault? Is it all these guys holding you back from having such amazing storylines, such amazing TV time. And look at what you do with the TV time you do have. Look at kind of attitude the bum bitch carry. Momo Watanabe, whatever. Just, this is something you would do on TV. Like, if the TBS title was anything like the TNT belt, it would be like open challenge, right? And you would just book that match for a Dynamite and get it out of the way. The pay-per-view matches should be storylines. It should be storyline based. But, I don't know. But it seems like maybe they're going to tease Mercedes wrestling Billy Starks and her winning a Ring of Honor belt too, as a way of building the Ring of Honor shows. Now, that's interesting because Athena has been Ring of Honor Women's Champion for, they said, 800 days, which you wouldn't be able to tell because they never talk about it. And you never see her, and nobody watches that program. Outside the hardest of the hardcores who, apparently live in hoarder kingdoms with 3-week-old pizza boxes on the kitchen table. Those are the only people who watch Ring of Honor. Nobody who has a job, a girlfriend, or a functional heartbeat, or any kind of social life, or likes to play video games, or likes to watch movies, or does anything productive with society ever, even if it just means going out and walking in the rain, is watching Ring of Honor. Not a single solitary sane soul is watching Ring of Honor. Okay? Nobody. None. But they're going to try to get people to watch it. How do you think you're going to get people to watch it? By putting Mercedes on it. So something tells me they roped Billy Starks into this, because I think she's the Ring of Honor TV type champion, or she was, one or the other. I'm thinking she was or is. I don't know. I'm trying to remember whether she used past tense or present tense. But something tells me that she's probably going to end up getting one of those Ring of Honor belts too. And it would be sensible. It would be a smart decision. Because those Ring of Honor shows, they bomb all the time. And if you don't do anything except for bring Jericho and Mercedes in just for the pay-per-views, you might increase the pay-per-view buys. You might increase that visibility. And she doesn't have to actually appear on the show because Jericho barely appears on the show from my understanding. So you could get away with that. And I'm thinking them starting to bring in Ring of Honor people for her to work with is a tease that they might be going in that direction. As they're running out of independent promotions for her to win titles from, I'm guessing she's going to win that hog belt too. And then after that, who knows what. Due to TNA's working relationship with the WWE, I don't think that one is on the table at all. But I do think she might win that hog belt. After that, she'll have to be like the Dust Belt champion of Kentucky or something. Who knows? But I could see Tony Khan. See, if he was smart, he would do that. If he was smart, he'd put one of those Ring of Honor belts on Mercedes. If he was smart. And then he'd use her to boost his pay-per-views. If he was smart. But I don't think he's that smart. And again, there's that TV belt, which I'm not sure who's the champion. I'm guessing it's Billy Stark. She was the champion last time I saw anything to do with the Ring of Honor TV title. Billy Starks was the champion. But then you also have Athena, who's been champion for 1,200 days, 800 days, or whatever. Having Mercedes beat her in the main event of the show or something like that might actually get eyeballs on that product. That could be helpful. And if you're Tony and that thing's struggling, which has got to be, I mean, nobody watches it again. That would be smart. But I don't know. Does Mercedes think she's too good to go and work Ring of Honor shows? I don't think she's too good. I mean, she's working fucking House of Glory. So she might as well go out there and work on Tony Khan's, B show. Becky Lynch did it. She's a bigger star than Becky Lynch, right? Charlotte did it. She's a bigger star than Charlotte, right? Let's move on. The Murder Machines lost to the Outrunners. So, again, even when you're pushing Brian Cage and Lance Archer, they still lose. They did the old WWE trick where the Hurt Business theme song played and it distracted Lance Archer and the Outrunners rolled them up. So the Outrunners are apparently going to get this tag team title match. Nobody cares. Who cares? I don't care. I'm pretty sure you don't care. The Outrunners are on TV, which could have been fun. They're very 1992, but they have no momentum. The guys that they beat never win. I mean, again, just a couple of weeks of Archer and Brian Cage crushing jobbers in order to get over could have really added some steam to this, but they decided not to. This is 100% what they decided to do. All right, there was a Ricochet vignette, which goes into the Swerve promo. Swerve said that Nana was right. He needs to focus on the World Championship, but he's got to right some wrongs first. And that wrong is Ricochet having something that don't belong to him. And this feud ain't over until he says so. Ricochet comes out. He's wearing a backwards cap, that silly robe Nana had, and he's wearing a suit. Who the hell wears a backwards cap with a suit? Why would you do that? Just for it to be a Philadelphia Eagles hat, and it didn't get a reaction. You look like a fool. All right? You look dumb. So, Ricochet says he's not chasing Swerve. It's over. He's never going to fight him again. Then Nana produces a contract where Tony Khan says that if Ricochet fights Swerve at Revolution, the number one contendership for the world title will be on the line. Because that's what Ricochet wants. That's also what Swerve wants. So Ricochet accepts and is willing to have the match. All right, done. Next, Nana has some words for Swerve Strickland. He talks about all these feuds he's been in with Swerve Strickland, all these bullets he's had to take. And he said, I've done all this stuff for you. I need you to be the man that we told everybody that you were. You need to be the most dangerous man in AEW. And he says, Ricochet is still walking around in my robe. That's my legacy. I need you to get my robe back. Or I'm not sure I can do this anymore. And I was like, okay, this is actually good. Nana is pulling some strings here. He's actually applying pressure to Swerve. He's saying, look, I need you to do this for me. If you can't do this for me, if you can't complete this, I don't want to be with you no more. This is my legacy. I need you to fix this. Now, you could say, why can't the man fix his own problems? But at the same time, though, it's still good because Nana's not a physical threat to Ricochet. Even though Ricochet is tiny, he's not a physical threat. So adding just a little bit of extra pressure to Swerve is fine. What I would do personally, Swerve beats Ricochet, but Ricochet destroys the robe. Similar to what happened between McIntyre and Punk. When McIntyre lost the match, he broke the bracelet, right? He should lose, but he should tear the robe up. Stab it with some scissors, rip it to shreds, whatever, just to add some real heat between Swerve and Nana. Because this is what you're introducing with this angle. And you can make it bigger, because they're not going to stop at just having two matches. I mean, Ricochet has been holding people hostage with scissors. This thing is not over just because they had two matches. Give Swerve his win back at Revolution, and as he's trying to retrieve the robe, maybe they have a pull apart with it, like a tug of war, and the robe rips in half. Or maybe you have, Swerve get the robe back, gives it to Nana, and then Ricochet recovers, hits both of them with a chair, takes the robe, and burns it. Or he rips it up or somehow. Or he takes the scissors to it. He starts stabbing the robe or something. There needs to be something to make the robe really mean something to the audience. Like, we know it means something to Swerve and Nana. Let's increase the value of it by destroying it. That would be my idea. But also, Ricochet needs to stop wearing caps with suits. You look like a goof. Alright, so then they decided to dump this really random collision match in the middle of the show. The Undisputed Kingdom, which includes Adam Cole, versus FTR and Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia I could have sworn mothballs fell off this guy when he came out of the tunnel. It's like he, brushed his shoulders and cobwebs just came off. Like, where the hell he been? He been so deep in the closet. Pause. He's been so deep in the chest. Ooh. The toy box, let's say. That still doesn't sound good. He's been put away on the shelf. Yeah, there you go. He's been put away on the shelf for so long. He's moldy. All right? He's past his expiration date. I forgot he was a TNT champion. They went out here and had one of the longest matches of all time. And then I really didn't pay attention until I saw all these guys tied up in the ring together, having some kind of submission orgy, where there's a sharpshooter, and then there's I think a guillotine choke or something while he was in the sharpshooter, and then there's a abdominal stretch of the guy who's got the guy on the guillotine, who's got the guy in the sharpshooter. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What is this? And as all this is going on, Adam Cole pins Danny Garcia with a jackknife pin. I don't know if he was the legal man or not. Everybody was in the ring. The referee just didn't care. Whatever. Let's just move on. So Daniel Garcia is trying to show some respect to Adam Cole. He offers to shake Adam Cole's hand, but Kyle O'Reilly kicks his hand away. I was like, okay, so they start having a little bit of a shoving match. Then everything sort of calms down. Then we immediately get bombarded with Excalibur, exposition dumping about how Tony Khan has made the match Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship for Collision. So Collision's numbers apparently went up again. It was like 400,000 this time. Very impressive. Because they was down in like the 200,000s before the big Grand Slam show. So they actually picking business up. I have no interest in this match, and I don't care. To be quite honest, if Adam Cole loses to Daniel Garcia, it says a lot about how Adam Cole's stock has fallen in AEW. Because this was a guy who was in the main event of a huge show. Now he's going to be losing to Daniel Garcia on Collision. You can't even win the TNT belt. Same time, though, if he beats Daniel Garcia, then Daniel Garcia was one of the worst TNT champions of all time because he was basically invisible, and then he lost the title. So there's nothing really here in order to gain, really. Who cares? Anyway, Claudio is supposed to be hunting for Edge. Instead, he gets attacked by Edge. They have a fight scene. Wheeler Yuta showed up. Marina Shafir showed up. I'm just going to cut to the chase. They showed a vignette of Edge beating up Pac from Collision. He had did a concerto on him to write him out of the story. So they decided they're going to do the same thing here. Marina Shafir jumps on Edge's back. He unlocks her fingers and throws her to the ground. Wheeler Yuta runs and hits her with a knee to the face by accident. Yuta's beat up. And then Claudio is beat up. Then Claudio gets hit with a concerto. While she's down, Willow Nightingale, who is one of the best baby faces of all time in AEW, she gives a concerto to Marina Shafir. Now, clearly because Marina has been beating her up, this makes sense. But I kind of don't like it. Because I would have liked for Willow to beat up Marina herself, rather than Wheeler Yuta doing it. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, Moxley is watching in horror, cartoonish horror. He's like, not doing anything, just watching his people get beat up. And that was it. He left. So he's losing members one at a time. That's the story. I was very confused in the early part of this beatdown because as Yuta and Claudio are beating up Edge, I was saying to myself, wasn't FTR right there? Like they're Edge's boys. They were just in the ring. So where did they go? But I guess it doesn't matter. Jay White came and helped. Willow came and helped. Okay. So Willow's standing alongside the Death Riders now. I'm not the anti-Death Riders. I don't know what they're calling themselves. The Cope Group, I guess. Sounds like an NGO or like a international conspiracy group. The Cope Group. Whatever. I don't care about this angle, and neither does anybody. The fifth match on this show, Harley Cameron defeated Deonna Purrazzo. Harley Cameron, my goodness. I did see that promo she did on Collision. I mean, she went full cringe. She came across like one of the Animaniacs. She was so animated. She was so over the top. And look, I appreciate her confidence. I appreciate that she has charisma. But that promo was cringe. Now, it was cringe in a different way from Marina Shafir being cringe. It was cringe in a different way from Sammy Guevara being cringe. She had all the energy and personality, but she had too much. You know? She stepped out like a Warner Brothers cartoon. Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or some shit. It was so cartoonish. And it was so over the top. I'm like, okay. She's likable though. You know, she's at least that. People like her, so it worked. But for me, it was way too cartoonish. Way too cartoonish. This match, though, was not good. Deonna Purrazzo, boy. I bet she wished she had not left TNA. She's now doing clean jobs to Harley Cameron. This is only the second match I've ever seen Harley Cameron win. Harley Cameron getting a slight push is fine with me because it seems like she won the crowd over, so she's over. And now they're going to try to actually do something with her, which tells me that maybe Harley's going to be in for something bigger and that Tony Khan's trying to ride that wave. Maybe. Deonna Purrazzo, boy. How the mighty have fallen. I knew she wasn't going to win. At least I had a general idea she wasn't going to win. But I didn't know it was going to look this bad. I didn't know it was going to look that bad. You know, it's really bad. Maybe she needs to go join like Tony D'Angelo's family or something. She needs to go like be a mob wife or something. Because this wrestling thing, I don't know if it's working out for her. She's got a whole run of bad luck. I think she's in college again. She's already working on her plan B. Yeah, this wrestling ain't working for her. You know, it's very tough out here. The main event, Takeshita beat Orange Cassidy. I don't need to talk too much about that because there's not much to say. So there's that. AEW Dynamite. Very bad show. Very, very much a show that will put you to sleep. Very much a show that has no energy. But the Revolution card looks strong. I will say that. If you're interested in the feuds, it's probably a much stronger show. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it deep into the show so people won't hear it. It's better booked than WrestleMania. Okay? WrestleMania is not nearly as strong as this Revolution card. On paper, WWE is going to have bigger stars, but their feuds are going to be weaker. Because I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't even know what they're doing right now. AEW at least has built some of these feuds very seriously. The MJF Hangman thing, the Swerve Ricochet thing, very, very strong matches. At least two very strong matches. Built off of really long feuds. Alright, yes, there's garbage like Momo Watanabe and Mercedes, because Mercedes gets to be on pay-per-view even though she doesn't work TV. But then you got Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay, which is a long-running feud that is going to culminate in a cage match. You got Omega and Takeshita. Again, a long-running feud. Should be your typical 5-star Omega thing. But it's a feud with some legs to it. They're not doing bad when it comes to building up the pay-per-view. It's the TV that fucking sucks. The TV is really bad. Now, I'm pretty sure by the time the pay-per-view actually comes up, I'm not going to care that much about it. Because I'm not that interested in the... Like, I don't really like Ospreay, for instance. I can give him credit, or give Tony credit, for working the Ospreay Fletcher feud, keeping it going, keeping people interested in it, while also saying I don't really want to see it. You know, because I feel like they're going to have the same match I've already seen, right? I don't really care about Omega and Takeshita. I've seen them wrestle before, and it feels like a slam dunk that Omega's going to win. I hate Hangman Page. I have no interest in watching that. I don't know who the fuck Momo Watanabe is. I'm just saying, from storyline perspective, Revolution seems to be a better built show than WrestleMania. You know, especially so I'm hearing they're talking about doing multi-man matches for the Intercontinental title, which is an embarrassment. You know, the lack of thought put into some of these matches, and look, there's still some time between now and WrestleMania, but I do like that AEW is trying. Yes, the Death Riders are an absolute abject failure, full of bums and degenerates, and it's not getting that much of a reaction. But at least it's a long-running story that has been going on for a while between two people who could possibly have an over match. You know, Edge is over, Moxley's over, they're stars. Nobody cares about their angle. It's not like it's the hottest thing on TV, which it should be, considering the amount of TV investment these two guys have had, not just over the last couple of months, but over the last 10 years. This should certainly be a bigger match than it really is. But when you consider everything, the entirety of the show, it's actually not bad built. If you're into AEW and you've been following the product, you certainly want to see Revolution if you're into the product and you're into the stories and everything. At least there are storylines attached to each match so far. With the exception of Momo Watanabe and Mercedes, every match on Revolution so far has a storyline. That's all we've asked for in an AEW show in a long time. And now we kind of have to expect Triple H to change course and actually do some storyline stuff. But as of right now, if you're looking at pure storytelling, you know, the culmination of feuds, Revolution is a better book show than WrestleMania. Now I need to go brush my teeth to get those words out of my mouth. But I had to tell the truth, man. It is what it is. And okay, yeah, I forgot. They doing another Toni Storm Mariah May match because they attacked each other on Collision or whatever. So they're going to have their feud ending match too at Revolution. Again, every match is going to have a storyline attached to it. So they're really trying, man. They're really putting forth the effort. And you got to give them credit for trying. You know? It's still some talent issues, but they're trying. And I'm going to give them credit for trying. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you folks later.
Yeah. We just gonna